Hello, welcome to Uncle Cthulhu Reviews. What's in the Necronomicon today? Necronomicon, this is where I jot down my plans and my kind of notes for speaking to keep me on track with my videos. And this morning I woke up and I was delighted to see Warlord Games having announced a new battle system, a new range of miniatures for an existing rule set. And it's based around this. Glory Hallelujah. Black Powder, American Civil War. As you've seen before in my other videos, I've done a lot of American Civil War, most recently in 10mm, and to make this video I've actually got some of my 10mm stuff out to exemplify a few points. And I was amazed actually how much American Civil War I've got. So this is my Confederate, so as you can see the bottom's quite full, top's quite full, and I've got the same for the Union there as well. So when it comes to small scale stuff and wargaming with it, I like to think I know my onions. I was thinking about this over the course of work today, and I do think it's a big game changer for the industry. Plastic, what's the company called? Plastic Soldier Company's done their kind of 15mm stuff in that new material that they've got, like the resin plastic stuff. And that's been able to produce some ancient armies cheap, but this is pushing out armies even cheaper. Well, not so much armies, but the way armies look and feel on the tabletop. Traditionally, in 10 or 15mm, you'll be buying individual models, and those will go on a base. This is pushing them together so they stand shoulder to shoulder, so you're basically buying strips. So a regiment that Warlord's offering as a regiment is 10 of these strips. 2 of them will mount on each base. Each strip is of 10 models, so there's 20 men on each strip, so that will make your regiment of 100 figures. 100 figure regiments on the battlefield, that's pretty good. So to give you some idea, this is a plastic sprue I've got from the old Battlefield 5 Armies game, which was a War Master, so it was 10mm, done by Games Workshop, and it's a Battlefield 5 Armies at the end of The Hobbit. So as you can see, you've got the strip of models, okay? And the bases, these actually just plug into the bases, and 2 of those strips will go there and 2 on the other. Now these are, because I was thinking about how big these bases are going to be for the new epic scale stuff. There's 7 goblins, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on these, and that's a 40mm base. So if you're looking at 10 models at 15mm scale, I reckon you're going to get a 60mm base by maybe 20 or 30 deep. That's 20 deep or 30 deep. And I love the way War Master units work. It's some of my favourite models Games Workshop's ever done. I like the way it looks, I like the way it feels, and how it plays. And obviously Black Powder is a derivative of War Master. Like I said before, you're getting a lot of models for your book there. It looks cheap as chips, and although they're saying you get 2,400 figures plus cannons, etc. in the box for 90 quid, it's not quite that, in that you're buying element strips. Certainly you can't you can't cut these goblins out, for example, to create individual goblins. That makes it look better, don't get me wrong, but it's not quite a direct comparison in terms of price of what you're getting. So my traditional American Civil War stuff, so this is Pendraken. So as you see there, I've got the individual figures and they're all mounted on the base. So some comparative for prices, and we are comparing metal to plastic, and like I say, we're buying elements in the new Civil War miniature range rather than individuals. So £90, working at £3.50 a pack of 8 figures, maybe some Peter Pig. If my maths is right, we'll get you about 250 figures. It's quite a good army. Certainly with these fellas, I'm looking at 24 men form my regiment. Pendraken would give you 540 men in 10mm. Again, that would be a good sized force for traditional sort of ways of basing miniatures. But like I say, I think this 2,400 figures, or representing 2,400 figures for 90 quid in plastic, that is a bit of a game changer. The other thing it's going to do is give big support for a smaller scale. So we're looking at sort of magazines and people like myself making videos, and the War Games Illustrated in January is going to have the sprues on the front. I certainly have ordered 2 sprues so I can paint up a Confederate regiment and paint up a Union regiment to see if I like it, and maybe see if I'm going to kind of move these fellas on and move into this. Like I say, it depends how my hobby muse is flowing at the time. I'm quite excited now. Who knows how I'll feel in January. But yeah, like Warlord's games does with, say, the Black Sails, the World War II boat game, you know, you get a lot of focus and attention on those ranges and figures and stuff. And in plastic, I think it might get a lot of people thinking about playing with the smaller stuff. Certainly, I think there is a place for loads of different scales. There's a reason why I have Napoleonics in 6mm, in 28mm, and I've been thinking about it in 10mm. 6mm, I can fight big battles. 10mm, I see a bit more detail in there. And in 28mm, it's about me collecting and enjoying painting the uniforms as well. So some other thoughts. So like it says, question of scale. There's a few people been asking what scale it is, and Warlord's kind of said epic scale. It's 13.5 centimeters foot to eyes, 15 centimeters to the head. What ranges would it be compatible with? Well, I'm seeing this as, if I was to do it, I'd probably want to plumb more with all of it. Certainly my 2 armies, my Confederates are more Pendraken and my Union are more Callistra. They're never going to go together in the same unit, so same army, and make it feel coherent. They do face off against each other. It's not too much of an issue seeing them facing off against each other. But in the back of my mind, there's always that it's not the same. Whereas if I use this basic methodology that Warlord's got, and the figures that they provide for the look, for the, like say, the strips, which I really like, by the way, it's about keeping things all together. Now, there are a bit of a fly in the ointment. You know, different rule sets might want me to use fewer or more strips of models, so elements of models. Certainly, with 60mm long strips, hypothetically speaking, I'd be much prefer 3 bases being my unit, which will give me 2 extra stands, and then 2 extra stands and 2 extra stands. So I'd be looking at a way to create another command stand. I do like all my units to have command stands. So what I would probably do is that middle strip, put the Warlord models in the back and some other manufacturer's command stand in the front, unless Warlord provides me a solution for that. Because I do use a load of different American Civil War games. I'm still exploring what they can do, what I like to get out of them. I'll often play the same scenario with different sets of rules and see how it looks and see how it feels. So yeah, that's important to me, being able to use a based army in different ways. And when I was thinking about size, I don't have any 15mm American Civil War. You know, last time I did that, I was about 20, but I do have a couple of examples, and I've showed these before in videos, I'm sure. So I've got my Confederate Zouaves from Pendraken and some Callistra Union. As you can see, the Union are massive. So the Union is more 12mm, but the Union are massive compared to the Pendraken figures. I'm probably not getting auto focus on there very well. Okay, and you'll probably see you'll be able to Google other comparisons there, even like looking down. So the 3 figures, and I do go to 4 on most of my bases, fill out the base a lot more than the Pendraken. And again, I mount my command on, I like my command on round bases. So you can see, Callistra Union command compared to, I think, the other guys, and the Callistra are massive. So I'm thinking, if these Warlord guys are a wee bit small compared to regular 15mm, I'll probably try and emphasize with my Callistra guys. Certainly when I get my samples in, I'll do a video showing them off as well. So other thoughts I've been thinking of looking at the video and the pictures. The sprues, basically it's the same sprue for both sides. One's going to be blue, one's going to be grey, but it's the same sprue. And green bases. That means if you're not into painting, you're going to be able to mount them on the bases pretty quickly and at least have a blue versus grey force on the tabletop and start playing games straight from the off. The other thing, if you just want one side, that box is going to give you a whopping 24 regiments plus guns and casualties. I'm talking about the £90 starter box there. It looks like mixed kepis and wide brimmed hats. I think they're called slouch hats. I like my Union guys to be mainly kepis. So I don't know how I'm going to feel about the look of the regiment once I've painted on. Certainly the stuff I've seen in the videos, etc., it looks really good. But like I said, I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. The other thing they're putting out is some buildings and some snake fences. Buildings look really good. My only concern is sometimes ground scale and that the building scaling to men is different to the ground scale you would use for your units. And to explain that, the Gettysburg buildings look great, but the Gettysburg building looks quite big compared to the 3 regiments in front. I think there's a picture in one of the videos. Now those 3 regiments there's probably about 400 to 500 men in each one. So you're looking at that 1,500 men in front of that building, and that building looks ginormous. So when I'm fighting a battle, I like my buildings to be important, but not to really dominate the field. So I have to have a think about that. Certainly my 10mm buildings will probably fit perfectly with it. Certainly my 10mm buildings scale really well with Callista and Pendraken, and I don't think that's out of sorts, so I've got no worries about that. And it's MDF as well, it's cheap enough. Really cool thing is the snake fence. I bought some matchsticks and I was going to try and make my own, but I think it'd be a lot of work. If I can get some nice cheap MDF snake fence in that scale, that'll be a godsend as well. The other thing which I was thinking about in the video, which saw me, was the extra stuff we're going to get. So in the video, certainly I've seen some Zouaves. I love my Zouaves. I've got a unit of Union, a couple of unit Confederate ones. I've seen limbers, supply wagons, horse holders, where I presume to be dismounted cavalry. Hopefully with some other command packs will be really good as well. Whether we look at, if we're looking at Zouaves, if the Zouaves aren't in plastics and they're some sort of metal or fine cast resin, maybe we'll do purely kepi units, purely slouch hat units. Certainly if I wanted to do Reynolds First Company and Iron Brigade, I'd want Union Warlord hats. If I did Newmarket again, which is a battle I fought several times, I'd want to do the Virginia Military Institute in nice grey kepis. And that's the thing, maybe it's about other ranges. Does it fit, does it not fit, how's that going to look? Certainly some of my games have skirmish elements. I'd like to be able to push out some skirmishers without just using the cavalry, dismounted cavalry, and that fits. So I'm definitely going to get my 2 regiments to paint up. I can totally see myself getting the £90 starter set, especially since by the time I look at Caliber books, that's going to be down to about 75 quid posted, which will be ace as well, unless I've got some Warlord medals to spend, which I seem to accumulate at a rate which surprises myself. So about the future for this, so like I says, there's a few things I'd like to see in the American Civil War range as well, just to round it out, like I says before. More to do with units and being able to form the units I want to do. It's always nice to have some standout units, especially in the American Civil War, where things can get a bit blurred. So for example, my Union Army, I won't dig it out. I've got a unit of like New York Irish with green trousers. I've done the Fire Zouaves from New York as well. Just to add a bit of character to what could well be a more unified looking army. And that's one of the reasons I quite like the Confederates with their Louisiana Tigers. So So the future, so above what they can do to flesh out the range, the American Civil War is a good place to start because, like I say, you can do one sprue, which will do both sides. You know, we saw that with Perry's first production of plastic American Civil War models that revolutionized the 28mm market. And because most stuff's used for both sides, it means the investment for a company and the risk to a company isn't great. And it's actually, I get a bit tired of big companies constantly using Kickstarter to launch stuff. I really like the fact that Warlord don't do that because it supports retailers, it supports our high street shops. Probably is another rant for another day, but yeah, I think it's important that manufacturers, you know, support the retailers that sell their stuff, and Kickstarter used by established game companies take that money away from the high street shops. And with everything that's going on in the world, you know, high street shops need whatever help they can get. You know, so it says the American Civil War is a great place to work at. This stuff would look spectacular for Napoleonics. And it says earlier, I'm tempted by 10mm Napoleonics. I'm tempted by 10mm Napoleonics because of the spectacle that sort of 10 to 15mm Napoleonics provide. I think 15mm metal Napoleonics, that's getting a bit expensive for the forces I want. 10mm do it, but if I can get kind of ranked up units like this, that would be spectacular. You know, you probably kick off with a sort of a British line sprue, a French line sprue, and where you could go for that. Would Warlord do it? That's another question. You know, I'm not intimate with Warlord's business decisions, but that might eat into their 28mm margins. You know, they've put a lot of investment and time into their 28mm margins. So yeah, so I for one would definitely jump onto this if it was a Napoleonic as well. I'm definitely gonna sort of start scratching that itch with it for American Civil War, and yeah, I'm really liking what I see. I think it's got a lot of potential. I think just from what I've seen, Callistra might be the nearest match to them in terms of size. Even with like mounted commanders, you know, they're not going to be in the units, so as long as you're not mixing stuff as much in the units, having a few different mounted commanders for various variety's sake, sorry, I have been at work all day, would be really good. So that's my thoughts on it. I've been really impressed. I woke up this morning and I was absolutely delighted with what I saw, and I've had American Civil War battle music going through my head all day at work and when I was thinking about on my break. So anyway, I'm going to go now. I'm going to enjoy some alcohol-free beer, and let me know your thoughts. And I look forward to chatting with some of you about this. And actually, like I say, come January, as soon as my subscriptions come in, not my subscription, my magazines come in with the miniatures, I'll do a wee video showing some of them off, some size comparisons maybe, and then I'll get some painted up, show off some painted ones, and then we'll see what February brings. So anyway, I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.